spilled regarding Spotify deleting Joe Rogan's shows. So hello, I am now live on YouTube as well. Thank you for joining. For reading the pod news. I'm your host, Christine O'Donnell, and let's dive into the stuff, the podcast industry insights. I do this every day around this time. It varies a little bit, I'm going to be honest, and that's usually due to, baby kid life. All right. So the headline for today's pod news is Union Agreement at Gimlet, the Ringer. So are unions getting involved in podcasting, guys? That is what I'm starting to see through the lines. The writers and producers at Spotify's Gimlet Media and Spotify's The Ringer, two of the first podcast production companies to unionize with the Writers Guild of America, both ratified their first collective bargaining agreements. The agreements mean, among other things, increases for salary minimums and a limit to the use of contractors, and should set a template for others. So podcasting, it is a worldwide industry, which means you can contract people from all over the world. There are different rates for different talent all over the world. There's inflation that's considered. There's so many different tiers of information out there. So to me, this makes sense that they are trying to standardize when it comes to who's doing what kind of contractors are going to be used within the different companies. So let me know what you guys think about unions in podcasting. I feel a little mixed about it. I've worked in other unions before, as you may know, and I find that sometimes people who are part of a union sometimes lose the heart for it. They lose the excitement for what they're doing, and they just kind of expect things. And I think it's totally right to expect things, and to be expecting to be treated fairly. I think that there's a right to that. So anyway, okay. Congratulations to Buzzsprout, it says here next, which now has 100,000 active podcasts, according to Buzzcast, the company's podcast. The podcast also discusses the company's recent claim that Spotify is now bigger than Apple Podcasts for downloads. Okay. Westwood One publishes data from Edison Research's Share the Ear. Podcasts are bigger than Pandora or Spotify in terms of share, the data says, with podcasting accounting for 25% of all ad-supported audio listening for 18 to 30-year-olds. I'm getting phone calls, guys. I had to decline that. All right. So just in case that cut me off, Westwood One has published data from Edison Research Share the Ear that podcasts are bigger than Pandora or Spotify in terms of share. The data says with podcasting accounting for 25% of all ad-supported audio listening. There you have it. Okay, 54% of podcast listeners, whenever there's a data point, a percentage, I like to see where it's coming from. So it says here, 54% of podcast listeners say they'd try a new platform if it had an exclusive they'd be interested in. MRC Data has released their Podcast 360 report, and we're told to keep episodes within an hour to keep listeners engaged and returning. So, what do you think? Would you change podcast hosts if you know you'd have an exclusive? And what kind of exclusive? I feel like it's still a little bit murky. Today on socials, today's social audio app, which looks eerily familiar to others, is Angle. It's on both iOS and Android and is run by a company based in Zurich, Switzerland. I wonder if Angle is similar to Clubhouse or Twitter Spaces. I'm opening that, so we'll wait to see what the word is on that. Ricky Gervais has a new podcast coming out. It's called Absolutely Mental. According to an article syndicated to US newspapers, the show isn't yet on any platform, any podcast platform, and there's no indication of where or when it will launch. Meanwhile, someone copied Gervais's exclusive show off the SiriusXM app and put them onto Anchor, complete with a time with a support this piracy crossed out podcast. This isn't the first time. So, guys, Anchor. Let's see what's going on with Ricky Gervais. P.O. Interesting dude who has a, I think, very biased opinion of women who disagree with him. So I'm not personally a fan. Okay, our editor is speaking at Fiesta, excuse me. Our editor is speaking at Pod Fiesta Summit tomorrow or later today. It is free to take part. Right now, also free to take part is On Air Fest. I believe there's a bunch of fun and interesting things going on today during the they got huge high quality speakers from NPR and other big podcasting companies. So if you'd like to learn from them, I think it'd be a great place to head over to. It is completely free. It's On Air Fest. So Google it. You googly. Okay, I'm not going to read that because, okay. Angle Audio. We bring people together for intentional and authentic conversations. Okay, it doesn't say anything else on that about. It just says this is just about the company. It looks so much like Clubhouse. I'm looking at the app now. It literally looks like Clubhouse. I feel like maybe a lot of these people had the same thing in mind when they were doing these things. So, geez Louise, man, this is funny. All right. So I mentioned at the beginning of this that I do have an update regarding Spotify erasing some of Joe Rogan's episodes. Something I shared yesterday that was originally reported here in the pod news that I read from the newsletter was that 42 of his shows have been deleted. And what does that mean? So why are they being erased? Why are these shows being erased? 3 of the 42 shows were episodes featuring Dave Asprey. He is the founder of Bulletproof Radio, Bulletproof Coffee. He is a biohacker, really into the health and wellness space. And I have some insider information after reporting about it yesterday, but I am going to hold off before sharing more because I want to double check some facts before I share stuff without completely knowing everything. And gosh, do you ever know everything? No. But I need to flesh out the story a little bit more before I reveal some of the tea that has been spilled. But yes, tea has been spilled. So I'm going to follow up with you guys on it. All right, thank you so much for listening to another episode of Reading the Pod News. I am your host, Christine O'Donnell, Emmy-nominated TV journalist and podcast coach. I have a podcast called Podcast Coaching with Christine, and you should check it out. All right, I'll see you guys soon. Have a good one. Woo! All right, I haven't forgotten about you. See you later, YouTube.